I'm Connie McKenzie, Vice President of Development and Alumni Relations, and it is truly my distinct honor to welcome you to the official unveiling ceremony of the L.D. Britt, M.D., M.P.H. statue. As you can imagine, the cover piece behind me has caused quite a buzz since it arrived on campus last Saturday. I can't begin to tell you how many people have asked if they can take a quick peek under the cover. The anticipation has been unbelievable. Of course, we made them wait, even Dr. Britt, but I promise, Dr. Britt, we will not make you wait much longer. First, however, I would like to thank all of the many people and departments that have made today possible. Harvey Lindsay and his family, Dr. DeCroce and the Hampton Roads Community Foundation, the Britt Arts Committee, RRMM Architects, Tuskegee Contracting, the EVMS Departments of Surgery, Facilities, Marketing, Media Services, and Development teams, our Office of Diversity and Inclusion, as well as the Britt Scholars and Mentors, as well as our artist, Mario Chiodo and his team, and especially to all of our guests who are here today to help us celebrate Dr. Britt's many contributions to academic medicine, research, and patient care. At this time, please welcome our President, Provost, and Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Alfred Abahamid, who will bring greetings and introduce this evening's speakers. Dr. Abahamid.
Thank you, Ms. McKenzie. Only Dr. Britt would bring such an impressive array of people on a Friday evening. Gathered with us are representatives from the American College of Surgeons, from our fellow higher ed institutions, including ODU, NSU, UVA, and Howard. There are also prominent local leaders from the cities of Suffolk and Norfolk, and representatives from our esteemed healthcare partners, Sentara Healthcare and CHKD. On behalf of EVMS, I thank you all for being here. I also like to acknowledge the members of the Britt Arts Committee, without whom this unveiling ceremony wouldn't have been possible. The Arts Committee gave freely of their time and spent more than a year researching and interviewing artists from across the country. We would not be here today to celebrate this monumental occasion without their commitment to honoring our dear Dr. Britt. To them, I gave my sincere thanks. Dr. Britt often says that he and EVMS have grown together, and that his successes are also the medical school's successes. But tonight, it's all about my colleague and dear friend, Dr. Britt. So before I share my personal reflections on his contributions, I would like to introduce a few of our speaker guests, starting with our esteemed mayor of the city of Norfolk, Dr. Kenneth Alexander. Like Dr. Britt, Dr. Alexander is a native of Hampton Roads and has dedicated his career to serving the community where he was raised. Prior to being selected as mayor, Dr. Alexander served in the Virginia Senate, where he was a member of the committees on commerce and labor, finance, transportation, privileges, and elections. Before his election to the Senate, Dr. Alexander spent a decade representing Virginia's 89th district in the House of Delegates, serving as the chair of the Virginia Legislative Black Caucus. He has witnessed firsthand Dr. Britt's passion for increasing access to quality health care for the residents of Hampton Roads, and has received more than a few phone calls, emails, and letters over the years from Dr. Britt, who was advocating for support in addressing a number of local and state healthcare issues. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Dr. Kenneth Alexander.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Abu Hamid. The city of Norfolk is very grateful and extremely fortunate to have a person of Dr. Britt's character, abilities in our community. He works in the city of Norfolk, but we all know that he could work anywhere in the world with his talent, his ability, his skill set. He lives in Suffolk, but we all know that he and his family could live anywhere in the world. Thank you, Dr. Britt, for working in Norfolk and living in Suffolk. He has donated so much of his time, talents, and energy to many organizations and is represented here. He has worked tirelessly to help others and to contribute to the health and well-being of our region. Dr. Britt is an extraordinary person. I think we all can agree that Dr. Britt is admired by his peers for his excellence in the field of medicine, for his vision, generosity, enthusiasm, and many accomplishments, but equally admired by the people of his hometown. And Dr. Britt, you have 2 council members and a city manager here from the city of Suffolk because of his dedication, his generosity, and his commitment to the people of Suffolk. Thank you, Dr. Britt, for just being you. We look forward to your continued success and future accomplishments. Lao Tzu was thinking about you thousands of years ago when he wrote, "When the best leader's work is done, the people will say, 'We did it ourselves.'" Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Alexander. Next, Mr. Howard Kern, President and CEO of Sentara Healthcare, will share a few brief remarks. Mr. Kern has nearly 40 years of executive management experience and healthcare leadership. He began his career with Sentara in 1980 as an administrative resident at Sentara Norfolk General Hospital right behind you, not that long before Dr. Britt joined the EVMS faculty and began caring for patients in the Sentara Norfolk General Hospital operating rooms. Mr. Kern has had a significant role in bettering the health of our communities and in creating this exceptional academic campus. Sentara's support for EVMS under his leadership has been instrumental in our continued ability to deliver on EVMS's missions. At this time, I'm honored to welcome Dr. Howard Kern to bring remarks and a special presentation on behalf of our vital academic health partner, Sentara Healthcare. Mr. Kern.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's a beautiful evening. I'm told I have to give credit to the mayor if the weather is really good, so I'll do that. And I'm really honored and privileged to be here. Before I start my comments, I want to introduce a few Sentara colleagues that are in the audience. Aubrey Lane is sitting right in front here. Mr. Lane is Senior Vice President and Chief of Staff for Sentara. Dr. Keith Newby is Sentara's Chief of Health Equity and Community Health. And I see Lisa Ortegon way back on the side there. Lisa is the President of Sentara Norfolk General. I may have missed other people, but at least those were the ones I've seen. And we all have a shared level of respect and appreciation for the great person that we're here recognizing tonight. Sentara's history will forever be associated with the work of Dr. L.D. Britt. I remember meeting Dr. Britt when I was a fairly still junior level executive at Norfolk General, and we were recruiting and actually were able to successfully entice Dr. Britt to come here and be the medical director for the trauma program. The trauma program is one of the programs that we're most proud of in the way it serves this community and the countless number of lives that have been saved through trauma care management. And I think Dr. Britt has done an amazing job in that area. I don't have the time to read a resolution that has been passed by the Sentara Board of Directors, but I want to highlight a couple of things in summary that I think really speak to Dr. Britt and his legacy. One is his unwavering level commitment to quality health care for patients. Dr. Britt has always demonstrated that. As a leader at the medical staff, he's always demonstrated that. He served for 10 years as the Chief of Surgery and Chairman of the Surgical Services Committee at Norfolk General. and really demonstrated that kind of leadership to all the physicians, nurses, and all the healthcare personnel that he came in contact with, and that's a real legacy as well. The second one I'll focus on is his training and mentoring of physicians in our community. As a teacher, L.D. Britt was well known for his level of engagement and commitment to students, residents, and fellows. And Norfolk General is a major teaching institution, really benefited from his leadership. And then lastly, the community. L.D. was always focused on the community, and health equity was a concept that he raised long before it was a term that people even regarded as popular. So for those things, and also in honor and recognition of his Lifetime Achievement Award from the American College of Surgeons, Sentara's Board of Directors passed a resolution recognizing him and thanking him for all his service. And he served on the Sentara board from 2000 to 2005. So we really have appreciated his leadership on all levels of the organization. And as I said, Sentara and Sentara Norfolk General would not be where it is today if not for LD's leadership and support. Thank you, LD. We have that. I want to thank you again, and we have a nice framed plaque for you on behalf of the Sentara Healthcare Board of Directors, thanking you for all of your service and congratulating you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Together.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Kern. Our next speaker is Dr. Deborah DiCroce, is President and CEO of the Hampton Roads Community Foundation. A native of Hampton Roads and a longtime friend and supporter of both Dr. Britt and of EVMS, Dr. DiCroce is herself a landmark leader. She has deep roots in Virginia, higher ed, and has served on the boards of numerous organizations with missions to improve the economic and health well-being of the region, including the Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce, the Urban League of Hampton Roads, and the Regional Campaign for the United Way of South Hampton Roads. But it is in her work with the Hampton Roads Community Foundation and the foundation's support of the Dr. L.D. Britt Grant for Health Equity and Diversity, which brings her here today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. DiCroce.
Well, thank you. And what a beautiful day for today's event. The gods must be smiling, Dr. Britt. In fact, I can't think of any place I'd rather be than here with all of you to celebrate the life contributions of a man who has made such a remarkable impact on so many. Hampton Roads' own Dr. L.D. Britt. As you heard, my name's Debbie DiCroce. I'm president and CEO of the foundation, and I was a member of the committee that helped to select the artist for the statue we unveil today. I've known Dr. Britt for, I was counting LD, it's over 15 years. I think it's closer to 17 years. Initially as a strong advocate for health education and student success when I was president of Tidewater Community College. And more recently as a member of the foundation's board of directors where he currently serves as treasurer. Had to do a little arm twisting on that last one. For me, the constant across all those years has been a man who's all in with heart and head when it comes to helping make life better in his hometown region. Indeed, there's a seated humility embedded in, dare I say, the well-earned swagger of the surgeon. At TCC, I watched Dr. Britt quietly mentor young men and women whose dreams to become physicians despite the odds, whose dreams were to become physicians despite the odds stacked against them. And when these young adults graduated from the college with their associate degrees in hand, he was in the stands, always cheering them on. Of course, we all are echoing a similar theme here, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know about L.D. Britt. For all of us, he's the accomplished physician and educator who could have gone anywhere to practice and to teach medicine. But he chose Hampton Roads and us. How lucky is that? So here's to you, Dr. Britt, with my warmest congratulations and thanks for all that you do and all that I'm sure you will continue to do. Which brings us to my assigned task of introducing the artist of the piece behind the curtain, Mario Chiodo. Let me tell you a little bit about Mario. Mario started sculpting with the mud he dug up from his backyard as a small boy. Born to Italian parents, his family visits to Italy only fueled his desire to sculpt. In fact, Mario shares that from those visits, he still has vivid memories of Michelangelo's Pieta emerging from stone, one of the works that impressed upon him then and now the dynamic gesture and the depth of emotion possible in sculpture. By middle school, if you can imagine middle school, he was recognized as an emerging sculptor and was pulled from the traditional school model and put in a prestigious hybrid school for the arts for gifted students where he flourished. Today, Mario Chiodo is a professional sculptor who, over the past 35 years, has been involved in massive creative projects, private and public commissions, and epic monuments. He's also created his own series of fine art editions which explore the theater of humanity, including the mythology that lives in the cultural mindset. In short, he's a master storyteller whose artwork transcends mere visual facts and reveals the inner soul, the thoughts, and the emotion of his subjects. So, give us a few more minutes for speechifying, and you can see for yourselves how this very talented artist brought to life Hampton Roads' own Dr. L.D. Britt.
Thank you very much, Dr. DeCroce. It is a true honor to be here tonight during this unveiling. One of the most important things over the years to me, going back as much as, I think, 55 years, when I saw for the first time in black and white videotape on a PBS channel of Abraham Lincoln on one episode, and on another episode, the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. I couldn't articulate back then what that meant to me, other than I wanted to tell the stories, to learn from, and set an example. After many, many years, I developed the series, Remember Them, Champions for Humanity. And that is the most important work I've ever worked on, and it is ongoing. Dr. Britt, you are a champion of humanity, and it is defined in my world, and I think the whole world, by two things. The ability to overcome extreme obstacles and achieve things that are not expected. And most of all, helping others and making a difference in other people's lives. When I spoke with you during the middle of the pandemic on Zoom calls and trying to feel and understand who you were, there were so many things I heard him say, but there was one thing that stood out so much to me because it said it all. You said, I grew up on the other side of the tracks, and it was down the other side of the tracks that I needed to be. You have no idea how that affected me and inspired me. And I'm hoping today, besides that, and your advocacy for education, I hope I've done justice to telling your story, because to me, it is almost even more important that a monument like this is created while one is alive, so that people can see it's real, that you are real, and people can achieve this. So I'm honored to be here tonight, and I can hardly wait. I hope you like it. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. DeCroce and Mr. K. Ododo. Our next speaker, Dr. Wayne Fison, is the pastor of East End Baptist Church in Suffolk, where Dr. Britt and his family attend services. Dr. Fison is here to share his reflections on Dr. Britt and the immeasurable impact he has on the community. Dr. Fison.
Isn't it such a beautiful day to celebrate Dr. Britt and all of his accomplishment? It's such a great honor for me to be here with you today and with your family and with all of his colleagues and his family and his friends. And so I just thank God for this moment. Didn't he give us a beautiful day today? Amen, to have such a wonderful celebration. I can remember coming to East End about 8 years ago. And typically when you come to a new setting, you want to meet all the movers and shakers. And so Dr. Britt's name was at the top of that list. So when I began to do my research about Dr. Britt, I began to get a little nervous about really meeting this giant. And so when I got a chance to finally meet him, I did meet a giant, but I met a very humble giant. And so I thank God for him, because what he has taught me about leadership is that you can hold your head high as long as you keep your heart low. And he's so lowly of heart in terms of his willingness to stand up against inequalities and injustices. And so we just thank God for what he's doing. And I want you to know that your East End Baptist Church family sends their love, and we are marching with you as you accomplish all of the things that you are seeking to accomplish. One thing that I've learned about power and leadership is the fact that there's two types of power. That is power that you can assert, and then there's power that you can reserve. Dr. Britt has that reserve power that he can call on at any time that he wants to. And so when we think about leadership for 2022, and we're trying to visualize what that looks like, the picture of what leadership looks like, I just want you to know, don't worry, it's going to get unveiled in just a second.
Thank you, Dr. Fison. Our next speaker, Mr. Miles Parks Tiller, is an aspiring physician and a student at Norfolk State University. Mr. Parks Tiller is a member of the LD Britt Pre-Medical Scholars Program and is here to share a few words about how Dr. Britt's commitment to increasing the number of Black doctors has inspired his own path. Please join me in welcoming him.
Good evening, everyone. As Dr. Abu Hamid said, my name is Miles Parks Tiller, and I am a current sophomore in the LD Britt Pre-Medical Scholars Program. I am blessed and extremely thankful to be part of this program. I've always been passionate about becoming a physician. As I researched colleges as a high school student, I wanted to ensure that every decision I made placed me in the best position to achieve my goal. I considered Xavier University of Louisiana, a school known for producing the most African American undergraduate medical school applicants. Then, the COVID-19 pandemic began, and my plan needed revision. I needed to stay closer to home. I thought about Wayne State, a university known for its pre-med track and medical school, and an institution that just so happens to be in my hometown. Instead, I chose Norfolk State University. I was excited about Norfolk State because of its strong academic reputation, but I was still a little nervous. I wanted to be sure that the school I attended would be the best possible fit to help me present myself as a strong, competitive medical school applicant. Fortunately, Norfolk State has been that place for me, in no small part because of its affiliation with a spectacular school, EVMS. My freshman year at Norfolk State, I was accepted to the LD Britt Pre-Medical Scholars Program. This program provides me with an opportunity to fellowship and connect with high-achieving, goal-oriented scholars who look like me. Together, we constantly work toward accomplishing a common goal, increasing the number of black medical doctors. This program provides me with the self-confidence necessary to continue to strive toward my goal. Through opportunities such as MCAT prep workshops, summer enrichment programs, hands-on case-based learning workshops, and intensive clinical experiences, we, the scholars of the LD Britt program, acquire knowledge that will shape us into tomorrow's brightest doctors. With the experience and resources provided by the LD Britt program, combined with a pre-medical education from two of the best historically black universities in the nation, I am confident that I am well prepared for medical school and to bring change to a system long overdue. Thank you, Dr. Britt, for paving the way, and thank you to everyone here to help celebrate his accomplishments.
You could see how eloquent Dr. Britt's scholars are. Thank you. It's wonderful to hear and see how Dr. Britt is inspiring the next generation of physicians and healthcare professionals. But I don't think anyone here is surprised by that, because inspiring people is what Dr. Britt has been doing his entire career. I've had the pleasure of working with Dr. Britt now for close to 30 years, and I've seen him wear many hats. He's an internationally recognized surgeon, a healer, a patient advocate, and for many of his communities, a lifeline. He's also a consummate professional, a mentor, an educator, a researcher, an advocate, a visionary, and a change agent. Dr. Britt has been a trailblazer in academic medicine for over 3 decades and has devoted his entire professional life to addressing healthcare disparities, delivering unparalleled patient care, and fostering excellence in training the physicians of tomorrow. And from what I can tell, he doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon. And thank you for encouraging him to stay here, something for which we are all so deeply thankful. I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Britt, for setting the standard, for supporting those who strive for excellence, and for always keeping what is best for patients and students at the center of all you do. Thank you for being a landmark leader and a pillar of the EVMS community. Your continued commitment to equity and excellence inspires all of us, students, residents, fellow faculty, staff, and community members. You remind us all why, what we do, and how we do it really matters. My hope is that this statue serves as a reminder not only of what you stand for, but of the future you envision for medicine and the community. Before I ask the pre-medical scholars here with us today to do the honors of unveiling the statue, I want to add a couple of things that are not in the script. So over the 30 years that I've been here, many times we had events that happen on this campus that really would impact EVMS, the communities where we are. I always thought that I need to reach out to LD to figure out what we need to do. And LD had always partnered with me and really provided support and vision of what the best thing for EVMS is for the long haul. So thank you, LD, for the friendship and the leadership you've provided. So at this time, what you're waiting for, I would like to ask the Britt pre-medical scholars here today to do the honors of unveiling the LD Britt statue. And Dr. Britt, would you please join alongside the scholars for the unveiling? Beautiful. And now it's my distinct honor to introduce the man of the hour, Dr. L.D. Britt. Dr. Britt is the Edward Brickhouse Chair in Surgery, the Henry Ford Professor of Surgery, Vice Dean for Clinical Affairs, and Professor of Chair of Surgery. L.D., wait a little bit. Sit down here. He's known for introducing the term acute care surgery and was the principal architect of this emerging specialty. Dr. Britt is a past director of the American Board of Surgery, past chair of the Board of Regents of the American College of Surgeons, and past president of the American College of Surgeons. In 2016, Dr. Britt became the first EVMS physician to be named to the National Academy of Medicine. Among his numerous awards and recognitions, Dr. Britt has been bestowed with the Association of American Medical Colleges Robert J. Glasser Distinguished Teacher Award, the highest national teacher honor in medicine. A Lifetime Achievement Award from the American College of Surgeons as the first black surgeon and only the fifth recipient in the organization's 108-year history. And the Distinguished Educator Award by the Association of Surgical Education, who also through proclamation this week have declared today, April 29, 2022, to be known as Dr. L.D. Britt Day. Dr. Britt is a graduate of Harvard Medical School and Harvard School of Public Health. He joined the EVMS faculty in 1986 and was one of the founders of the Level 1 Trauma Center at Sentara Norfolk General Hospital. He has served as chair of EVMS surgery since 1994. There's so much more I could say, but we could be here all night if I summarize his 68-page CV. We are continually impressed by Dr. Britt's contributions to the field of medicine and grateful for all he has done here at EVMS and for our friendship throughout the years. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Britt to the podium and Mario for a personal presentation from the artist.
Before you get to do your speech, every champion of humanity that I have sculpted whether living or the living relatives. It is important and an honor for me to present the original model to the recipient. Thank you.
You know, if you open up the dictionary, Random House Dictionary, and look for the word overwhelmed, you will see my picture. Let me thank my distinguished colleagues on the dais, my distinguished colleagues and friends in the audience. I have to say, I'm humbly and sincerely embraced this special occasion with a deep sense of awareness of its significance. However, I will have to say it's not about me. I would like to underscore, highlight, and magnify the many fingerprints on this statue by the master sculptor Mario Chiodo. The innumerable hands, guiding hands, I should say, timeless efforts of others that led me on the path that was rooted in lawful segregation, used to be called Jim Crow. And so let me say from the outset, this recognition was never a goal of mine. It's not about me. Living by the adage that you let the body of your work speak for you, I just wanted to be known as a public servant who happened to be a surgeon. Tonight, I have no feeling of triumph, but a feeling of solemn responsibility and sincere appreciation. Growing up in the community that was divided by the railroad tracks, and you see the railroad tracks there, divided, I became aware of the many disparities in the wealthiest nation of all time, even compared to the British Empire, Roman Empire. Disparities in income, education, healthcare. It would be impossible for me not to reflect and acknowledge the strong and steady helping hands of my God, my parents, my family, Avery, Charlene, and the like, my church, my teachers and mentors, my students, helping hands of my trainees, my classmates, my staff, my colleagues, EVMS institution, the Sentara system, King's Daughters, my community, and my friends. In 1986, I was prepared to start my career in Hampton Roads. My colleagues in Boston and Chicago and Baltimore and LA asked me, why are you going back to Hampton Roads, which I call Tidewater, Virginia, and join a relatively young medical school? Without hesitation, I responded, the Tidewater was my home, and that I and EVMS would grow together, and that's what we did. It was 1519. Hernandez Cortez led an expedition to the New World. And when he landed, he knew he was going up against the Aztec army, which hadn't lost a battle. And Cortez only had 600 men. They had 60,000, the Aztecs. He only had 19 boats, 11 horses. The first thing he said when he landed, he told his sailors, go back and burn the boats, which meant that either we're going to do this or we're going to perish. And they won. I'm glad that I burned the boats. So let me thank you again for all that you've done. I usually talk about 45 minutes, but I'm not going to do that tonight. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Britt. At this time, I would like to introduce Dr. Bruce Waldholz, Rector of the EVMS Board of Visitors, for our closing remarks. Bruce?
Thank you, Dr. Abahamid, and congratulations again, Dr. Britt. What more really can be said, but just have to say a few thoughts. First of all, thank all of you for being here today. On behalf of our Board of Visitors, it's truly an honor for you to be here and to celebrate really Dr. Britt's momentous early part of his career so far, because we still think the best is yet to come. Dr. Britt is truly an inspirational and transformational leader, not just here at EVMS, but really throughout the United States. This weekend, unfortunately, there are going to be a number of people with trauma taken to emergency rooms, trauma centers all across America. And those patients have a better chance of going home with full recovery to return to their families because of the work that Dr. Britt has done nationwide with the American College of Surgeons as his president, which is the largest group and most inspirational and important group for surgeons, and with his work in his training program. You know, some of those surgeons are going to be the surgeons that Dr. Britt trained, and the next generation or two of the trainees that he has trained that then go on to train the next generation. And that's what's so unique about medicine, about standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. One of the Britt scholars today was talking about having his last organic chemistry class. Between organic chemistry and taking the MCAT and walking into the operating room one day as a first-year student, third-year student, making sure we don't touch anything because the nurses are going to kick us out, is really a big difference. Part of Dr. Britt's enduring legacy is furthered by the Britt Endowment for Diversity and Health Equity. This endowment enhances diversity and inclusion efforts here at EVMS and draws attention to the important work of addressing healthcare disparities, was realized through gifts to EVMS Deliver on the Promise campaign from the Hampton Roads Community Foundation and the Oliver Fund established by Francis Martin Lindsay. The truth of the matter is that today only about 70% of patients trust their physicians in that examining room. And if that physician doesn't match and align, if it's a patient with color, that patient is going to have less trust. If we're going to make a difference in healthcare and outcome and disparities, we are going to have to train, as Dr. Britt has been working very diligently for, generations of physicians who, as you said, look like the patients that they're taking care of. The diversity, equity, inclusion funding activities for EVMS faculty, staff, and students include educational programming, training, service opportunities in our community. We know the mayor likes that when we kind of go out there and get involved. Curriculum enhancement through grants, and yes, through student scholarships. These are all initiatives identified as priorities in the EVMS strategic plan for advancing healthcare equity and inclusion for community and academic impact. The terrace on which this amazing sculpture of Dr. Britt stands has been named the LD Britt MD MPH Terrace in honor of his extraordinary contributions to draw attention to the important work being done through the Britt Endowment for Diversity and Health Equity. As Dr. Abahamid said, we really can't go through the entire 68 pages, and Dr. Britt would not allow us, but we invite all of you to please go to evms.edu to learn more about Dr. Britt and the wonderful work that's being done and what's being done here with diversity and inclusion at EVMS. And more importantly, and I know our development staff will enjoy this, please go, if you want to change the future with Dr. Britt, go to evms.edu/giving. One of the wonderful people of our development office will contact you repeatedly. As we conclude today's program, the honor of asking our speakers to come up to the statue's base for pictures, then followed by Dr. Britt's families. Following that, all attendees will be invited to the terrace once photography is completed. Again, on behalf of our Board of Visitors, it is truly an honor for us, for you to be here today with us to celebrate Dr. Britt. And a thank you is really not enough, but on behalf of all of the students, faculty, patients, both past, present, and future, please accept from all of them a big group hug from all of us. Thank you, Dr. Britt, so very much.